Well, the Australian Open finals are set after two incredibly long semifinals, especially on the men's side. So to hit his thoughts on the tournament and on the women's side as well, let's bring in tennis analyst and coach Brad Gilbert. He's also the host of the Big T podcast. I want to talk the other sort of news that's happened this week with Coco Gauff and her sort of talking about privacy concerns that she and a lot of the other athletes feel that they need. Before we sort of talk about, her initial request for more privacy in a second, having coached Coco Gauff, are you surprised that she's the first one to sort of, ring the alarm and sound the alarms on this?
Well, first of all, let's go back to 2023. When Coco Gauff, I was coaching her, beat Zabalenka in the finals of the U.S. Open. And the crowd obviously played a massive factor in that match. Zabalenka was overcome with emotion, but 10, 15 minutes after the match, after she had left the court, Zabalenka is in the gym by herself. She smashed a racket to smithereens. And then they played that live and they played it all over. I felt like then, I was like, maybe they should have asked her, if that's okay to show that. And Coco, when she walked off the court, some players, literally their emotion blows over on the court and you see them break the racket on the court, but she walks off the court in the corridor, goes behind where she thinks it's kind of like, it's, I don't know, it's not a curtain, but it looked like some area, but the casino bug eye is there. I mean, Serena told her she would give her a lesson on what took her so many times to break the racket. I can break it in one. But in my opinion, she didn't want to be seen. Mm-hmm. She was showing her emotion. Why does she have to be seen there? I think that was wrong. And then another thing is, I think is an absolute joke. This is just me. I've seen all tournament long. There's a couple of press people that are asking ice questions. They're asking Trump questions. I'm sorry. You take those people's accreditations away. This is a tennis tournament. Lerner Tien loses a tough 7-6 in the fourth match to Zverev. First question he's asked is that. You take those people's pass away, and if you do see something like this, for me, breaking a racket, ask the player. Mm-hmm. Ask the player. That's just me. That's the old tennis player and me.
Well, I guess since now we sort of have a long history of this and actually some dates predating this, do you now feel that changes will happen now because of this?
Let's hope so. And obviously, tennis players, athletes are a lot more sensitive about things. Mm-hmm. And I understand some of the needs and sometimes, the players they forget that, they need to, be more accommodating. But in this situation, when you think you're in private, you should be in private. Obviously, when you're in a casino, they're watching you 24/7. You know that. So I feel like in this situation, the way she walked, the way she did was her time. Mm-hmm. And I know that people say, oh, there's a coach's room where there's no camera. There's a quiet room where there's no cameras. And in the corridor there is. But sometimes a player in the heat of the moment doesn't know that. So listen, it wasn't like she did something demonstrative. It was something that was a little bit out of her character. Maybe she didn't want that to be seen. But, it wasn't like she did something that was the worst ever.
Right.
But I just feel like that in that situation, she should have been at least asked, do you mind if we show this? And she probably would have said no.
Incredibly valid point, Brad. The other thing I wanted to ask you was about Serena. She made some news this week because she was on the Today Show and she sort of insinuated she's open-minded to returning one day. Do you think that ends up happening, or is that just an athlete, never wanting to sort of close that door on something you've spent your entire life, doing?
Well, we talked about this on the new podcast I'm on, the Big T podcast, podcast bantering about tennis. First of all, Serena's going to be 45 this year. And at 45 years young, why do you enter the drug protocol. Nobody wants to do that unless you're at least thinking about it. But I feel like probably if I was a betting man, which I am, the reason why she did, obviously, is to at least give yourself. You can't in tennis. I don't know about every sport. You can't just all of a sudden announce 2 weeks before the U.S. Open, oh, I want to play there. They have these rules that you have to enter the drug protocol and all these things, months in advance. But I feel like if she does play a match, I think it's Venus that's trying to twist her arm that maybe if she retires at the Open, that they play doubles together or play at Wimbledon together. That's what I think it's about, because, everything that she's accomplished, it's not like, she's 35, but I got a feeling, though, that older athletes saw what Tom Brady has done. They've seen what LeBron James has done, and the athletes' lives are a little bit different. She's had 2 kids. Obviously, she's entitled to doing it, but I'm going to go on a limb and think it would be for doubles and to play with her sister potentially if the U.S. Open is her last turn.
I think all of us would love that if we got a doubles reunion with her and her sister. Brad, I'll get you out of here on this. You mentioned your podcast, the Big T podcast that you got with the Tennis Channel. Tell us a little bit more about that and some of the things that you guys are talking about, because clearly, especially after the Australian Open, you got a lot of content there.
Yeah, it's a fun platform. I'll be mostly with Coco Vandeweghe and occasionally Mark Petchey and Andrea Petkovic will have a show as well, and occasionally we'll be the 4 of us. So sometimes we'll have some guests, we'll banter about tennis. A lot of times I just banter at home with the dogs, platform to have some fun. Obviously, after the Aussie Open, when it comes out on Wednesday, we have a lot to talk about from the Aussie Open, and we'll have some guests. Our last show, we had Danielle Collins, the Danimal, on the whole show. So, and we'll have a little, I believe we'll have some Twitter questions. I still call it Twitter. What the X? So it's a lot of bantering, a lot of fun, and just, it's a great platform, and I'm really appreciative to the Tennis Channel.
Well, we love your perspective, Brad, and we love all of your insights into this world. The Big T podcast, of course, you can listen to it wherever you find your podcast.
I got one thing. Didn't you follow me the other day on NBC's? I was on NBC.
Yes.
First, they had some intense story. It was me, and then you talking about Belichick.
Yes.
And what a freaking joke! Already in the Hall of Fame, and he's not a first ballot Hall of Fame. Straight red card for them. I'm a Raiders fan. I'm still upset about the Tuck rule, but I'm sorry. The guy won like a zillion Super Bowls, and if you can't put him in, at least say it was Deflategate or it was something.
Right. 302nd all-time, Brad. You're so right, Brad. Second all-time in NFL history in wins. He's got 8 Super Bowls, 6 as a head coach. I mean, even if you hate the guy, you can't discredit his record.
A joke. Back.
Brad, great stuff. Of course, once again, listen to the Big T podcast. Tennis analyst and coach Brad Gilbert, thank you so very much for joining us here on Front Office Sports.